Welcome back to 5-Minute Knives, the channel that thinks if there is a hell, it must look a lot like the post office. Today, we're going to talk about this Knurf that was sent in to me by Martin. Thanks, Martin. Thanks for the business. He sent this in for a sheath, and we're going to get into it. This is the Cold Steel Republic, and this is the box that it comes in. This is kind of like a bushcrafty blade, a departure from Cold Steel's usual offerings of Tactard and Mall Ninja-E-esque stuff. And I don't know if this came with it. This is just how Martin shipped it. And there she be. So get this crap out of the way. Yeah. And here she is. So right off the bat, I can say that Cold Steel generally includes super crappy Secure-X sheaths with their knives that dull the blades and so on. And I shouldn't complain too much because it's really boosted my sheath company. I'd say 2 out of 3 orders now are Cold Steel knives, which is like, whoa. What does that tell you about the sheath offerings you make? So I really hope Cold Steel never corrects that. My retirement depends on it. But this one is a nice leather sheath. It comes embossed with the Cold Steel logo here. And here is the Knurf itself. So we'll set this aside and take a look at this bad Larry Appleton. And I think that this knife is actually a home run. It was underneath my radar. And as you can see, the sharp jimping on the spine took off some of the leather as I drew it. So it's gonna make a mess. And see, look, there's little bits of leather all through here now. And this is sharp. I mean, this jimping is fairly sharp. So it does make it a challenge for sheath making. As you know, Kydex doesn't like extreme jimping, but I did make him something really cool, and I think I've split the difference between what the knife wants and what the customer wanted and expected and what I could do. We have a really nice choil here, a la SE knives, kind of like a SE6. I really like, I don't know, I'm not a big guy for jimping, but I really like how this jimping goes all the way down to here. Because as I put my finger in the choil here and I want to work, sometimes my thumb wants to go a little higher, sometimes it wants to be closer and right in the middle. So you do have options there, so they really did factor that. We have a nice saber grind here, S35 VN steel. And I found these things anywhere from, some knife retailers had them for like $260, which I think is too high. And then I found them on Amazon for like $201, which I think is in the ballpark. It's not bad. S35 VN steel. I mean, if you factor it against a knife like this from Dylan's Knives, this is also S35 VN steel, 5-inch blade, similar, although for tactical application, obviously. 175 all in with carbon fiber, 150 with G10. Links below to Dylan's Knives. Yes, I'm going to keep plugging that because that is just a hell of a deal. If they still have them in stock, not bad. But this knife is really nice. It's kind of like it looks like a 5-inch blade, and it kind of strikes the balance between like an SE4 and 6, which is really a sweet spot. I really love the handle. I really, really love the handle design here. Just kind of milling into the micarta. It's kind of smooth but feels nice. There's a bit of meat here, and it just feels like a dream. In my medium-large mitts, this feels really, really, really good. Now, a lot of guys with a 5-inch blade would say, I don't need a finger choil there, but I really don't mind it, and for close work, I kind of like it. I really like it in this grip. Where I don't like it as much is when I'm in this grip. And I'd rather just have the extra blade there. But it's not bad. And I do think that this strikes a balance. Also, I didn't know Cold Steel even made this knife. It wasn't on my radar. I didn't know anything about it. It is a welcome change. I'm going to speak favorably on this. Little lanyard here. Oh, and then some nice jimping for your Steven Seagal grip here, which is actually pretty solid. This could be an all-around survival knife, and I think it would do a fine job. Very, very sharp. Grind lines, not bad for Cold Steel, still a little bit irregular. Cold Steel likes to make a little abstract art when they're grinding. Fit and finish is decent. I wouldn't say flawless. Torque hardware. I'm nitpicking, even though I genuinely really, really do like this knife, and I really do like this design. Let's see what I made for him. So he just said, give me a pancake sheath and dealer's choice. So I made him this dope foliage green and coyote pancake sheath. And you can switch these attachments. You can do whatever you want. You can add drop downs. You can do anything. But because of the jimping on the spine, it's a little rough on Kydex. So I think, there we go, no rattle. And I struck a nice balance, and I think it looks really, really sharp. That foliage green with the coyote really goes with the overall look of the knife. And just a beautiful setup now. you know, between the knife and the sheath, I mean, he's out a little bit here, Martin. But he's got a really nice setup. It should last him for life. I'd say the only real drawback is going to be cleaning out this jimping of dirt and debris and stuff as you use it. It seems to collect the leather pretty good, but I think he's going to be really happy with the sheath. I know I am. I love this color scheme. And one of my favorite things is when a customer says dealer's choice. I absolutely love that because I've seen a lot of color schemes, and depending on the knife, you can do a lot of different things with it. And I think that this is just gorgeous. You know, he's going to be happy. So there's our coyote washers. I really love foliage green. It's almost like a gray in certain lighting, but I really like, you know, obviously how I polish the edges of my sheaths just comes out very, very nice. And this is ambidextrous. You can switch this around and have the coyote spot out, but I designed this for right hand. That's what he is. And you can rock this scout carry. I would probably wear this scout carry personally on the front of my belt. Use the thumb ramp to push off bud, as always, right there. And then you have full command. You're in a full grip on the way out. Let's do that again. There you go. See? And then I don't mind that you can choke up with this. I think that this knife, I mean, could take some serious abuse is what it feels like to me. I think it's designed for big time abuse. And that's in line with Cold Steel's mantra of like, you know, toughest stuff ever. You know, whether that's true or not is another thing. But I think that if you were out there and you were stuck, you could do a lot worse than the Cold Steel Republic. This is a solid implement and a really capable survival tool. I can already tell that. Got a fair amount of belly, came really, really sharp to me. I don't know if Martin sharpened it or whatnot, but I love this knife, technically. I know I gave it little nitpicks and stuff, but I see why he likes this. And is it worth the extra money? I'd say if it connects with you. If it connects with you, yes. And then also maybe get it on Amazon. You can use the links below for any Amazon stuff I have there. And then just search Cold Steel Republic while you're there. You get a better price, hopefully. You know, if you guys use the Amazon links below, by the way, and you buy anything else, I think I still get credit, which is pretty cool. I don't know how that works. Thank you to everybody that's been using the links so far. They've been helping out. Little Papa income. Just solid, man. This is nice. I mean, kind of information light and more just like impressions and feel. Wants to move, very good for snap cuts. Could do some light chopping with it. An interesting tool, a very interesting tool. I like it a lot. Let's get that on camera. Let's check the retention one mo again. There she be. Not bad. So Martin, thank you very much for the business. You guys let me know in the comments what you think of this knife. It wasn't even on my radar, so it kind of surprised me, and I wanted to make a video to spark the discussion so I can learn a little bit from you cats, as always. Oh, one last thing while we're here. Let's check the weight. Forgot to do that. Sorry. Okay, so this little sucker is 8.1 ounces, and it feels it. It feels a little bit on the heavier side, which I like in my fixed plates, by the way. The sheath is 4.5 ounces, and so obviously if you put them together, you should get 12.6. I think that might be just the way I'm setting it. 12.6, yeah. So 12.6 ounces, you get this whole package. Not too shabby, and then for like a one knife tool, like if you're gonna bring one knife with you, and that's it, this could be a contender, actually. I could see this being the one that you bring. You could do a lot worse. Great for food prep, amazing for food prep. Really good just for anything you got around the camp. I bet you this sucker can handle it. Building your steaks, you know, even pounding them in with this kind of part of the pommel here. You know, I could see this being used in a skinning application in hunting with the belly. You just have to be really, really careful. And again, you'd probably have to be higher up for skinning than you would be where the jimping is. You're gonna have to go past that a little bit. But then you could use the choil in this finger here and have really good command. So this knife has a lot of surprising hidden application that I think you would discover while you owned it for a long enough timeline. And that's the vibe I'm getting. This knife is fairly mysterious to me, you know, but it's got a weight I really like, a design I really like, a shape that is skexable to me. I do enjoy a finger choil, you know, on knives of this size, 5 inches, 4-inch blades, stuff like that. Although some guys will say they don't need it, and I also agree with that. You know, I don't know if it's needed. If you got close enough to here, why would you need the finger choil? But also, I don't hate it, and it'd be really good for close work, your feather sticking, things like that. So, I don't know. I think that this is overall a winner. I think the price is in the ballpark. It's okay at $200 if you can find it for that. But there's just something about this knife that really appeals to me now that it's in its proper sheath. And I'm digging that. I think that that is a home run. So you guys let me know what you think. We can disagree. That's all right. And just hit me up in the comments. And I'd love to hear your feedback because I'm learning about this one. So your input will be valuable as always. And I'm going to leave a link to some Bushcrafty playlist here. Peruse some other knives. Let me know what you think. And maybe compare it against the Republic in both price and form and function, right? Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I do appreciate you, and I will see you next time right here on 5 Minute Knives.